Hello everyone, this is Prevalent Arts, and you are watching part 4 of the Easy Affinity Designer Guide. Previously, I got into background creation, and now this is on a similar subject, but this time this is on props. Props are elements that complete a background or tools that characters may use. This here is an example background of a dining room, but the dining room is incomplete because there are no props. There are no tables, chairs, or anything that would make a background other than walls, a floor, and a ceiling. Now, first off, you'll see that I have this background in a certain angle. It's not just horizontal like the forest example in my previous video. An angle puts more rhythm into the background. And you'll also notice that even though this is just a cube-shaped room, these lines here also put a little more detail in the room. If this room was just a cube shape and didn't have these lines, then it wouldn't look as fun. Now, before putting in the props, you need to figure out how you're going to do it. So I made a little mock-up here. I have a background layer and a mock-up layer. This is the setup I want. The door will be right here, a window here, clock here, and the carpet. However, I need to figure out how to draw the table, and I don't want to just guess on where to start the top of the table. I need to figure out the base first. So if I expand my layers and check off my table pixel layer, I drew the base first, and then I said, okay, this is where the top of the table is going to be. So when I start drawing the table, this is where I'm going to start drawing. And then this is where I'm going to have the chairs. I'm only going to have 4 chairs. So that's how I know how I'm going to start off. But before I get into drawing the props, I'm going to just put a little more work into the background, and it's not going to take long at all. So I have snapping turned on. Oh wait, before I even get into that, I didn't use the pen tool for this. No, yeah. All I did was create a rectangle and then scoot it. So just resize and scoot. That's it. It's very simple too. Okay, so before I get into the props, I'm gonna put a little more depth into the wall and the floor, and this is only gonna take a second too because we're using vector. So I'm gonna create just one board tile. Now with a move tool, I'm gonna hold Command and click and drag it so it snaps in place. Now I'm gonna resize it just that much. That's all. Now press Command J or Control J for Windows. And you see it got a little larger and then a little larger. Okay, now I'm gonna select all these boards I just made. Cut, select this object, and I want to paste those boards inside. There. Now I'm going to do the same with this wall. Paste. But now it's over here, so I'm going to flip it and drag. Now with the floor, now I'm going to take a rectangle, skew it. So I'm going to put it right here. Hold Command, drag. Command J, Command J. Now select all, cut, paste. There, now right away this already looks a lot better, but I still need to have props, so that's going to be the next step. I brought the stroke size down, and now I'm going to create a new layer for the props. Now I'm going to click the background layer and lower the opacity, and then give it a lock. Now with the props layer, well first, if we look at the mock-up, you'll see that this is where the door is. That's the first thing I'm going to draw. So I'm going to just use the rectangle tool, create a door, skew it. Want to make sure the bottom of the door is parallel to this line. And now you'll see there's a little problem with the top here. This doesn't look accurate. So I'm going to convert this rectangle to curves so I can use the node tool. And now with this node right here, I'm going to bring it down, but I'm going to hold shift to constrain. Okay, that looks a little more accurate. Bring it down just a little more. Okay, now I'm going to press Command J to duplicate this, or you could just copy and paste because it'll paste in place. Now, oh, and what I'm doing is I'm creating a frame around the door. If I just have a rectangle shape with a doorknob, the door wouldn't look presentable. Again, it's about rhythm. So now, while I'm still holding Command, I'm gonna stretch this. And now I released Command, and now I'm gonna bring this down. But I still have to bring this side up a little, and I'm holding Shift again. Okay, now I have a frame. I'm gonna make a doorknob. Just use with the circle tool, hold Shift again to constrain. Now this door is not complete yet, so one last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the rectangle tool, do this, skew again. Want to have the top be parallel to this. Now copy and paste, or Command J again, or Control J, whichever operating system you have. Now I'm holding Command and Shift while dragging. Okay, now holding Command and dragging this up. There. Now I'm gonna select both these objects, Command drag to make a duplicate. And the bottom of this, the edges needs to come up a little. So I'm going to convert both of these to curves. Now, Affinity Design, there was a sneak peek of Affinity Designer 1.7, and that sneak peek was that once you put a selection around nodes, you will create a bounding box, and then you can skew, rotate, or manipulate the nodes the way you want. And that would save time in this example, because then I could select nodes of both of these objects and then skew them the way I want, rather than having to skew both these objects up individually. Now bring this doorknob down a little. Alright, and I think this looks complete. I'm going to just shrink these down a little. I want them both to be the same size, but I do want to move these two up, and that's why I shrank them both. I'm not going to show every bit that I do because I don't want to take up too much time, but just enough so you understand on how to draw. So for the window, I started off with a basic frame first. Now I split the window into two parts. Next, the sill, then the headboard. Again, with the clock, it's just basic shapes and mechanics. That's something we can add here. Click here and I'm going to take the round corner tool, select both these nodes, and I'm going to select this option up here. Now it's time to make the table, and you'll see I already made the carpet, and it's not in the same form as I estimated, and that's because I wanted to have the carpet be parallel to the floorboards. So to make the table, I am actually gonna copy and paste this. So Command J. Now hold Command and Shift, resize there, and then bring it up a little. But I'm gonna put this in a different layer. And let's give this table round corners. So now how to make the base of this table. Command, drag down, set behind, drag down again, hold Command, set behind. Now for this part, I'm going to just make rectangles. Have this right against this other part I made. Now click these two, add. Okay, and this is the table. I like the way it looks. But something that I just picked up on is the perspective of the bottom of this clock. It's not parallel to the floorboards. So before going on, I need to change that. Now the last part is to draw the chairs. Now for this, I created chairs like in this fashion a year ago for this comic. And I'm gonna redo this. I don't like the way this looks now, a year later. So I want to have the chair look something like that. So let's see what I can do, what I can come up with. Okay, here's one chair. I took a while making it, and I'm not sure what I think about it. It's kind of hard to draw on a different perspective, but it'll have to do. Okay, now I can make chairs on the other side. So, you know what? I'm gonna just do less work, and I'm gonna just do this. Select all these paths. And it's probably hard to tell with these chairs, but these edges are supposed to be more rounded than the back side. So I'm going to do the opposite here. I'm going to unround these edges. And now I'm going to round up these. Okay, this was actually difficult to do because this is all new to me. I'm very used to character drawing, and I was trying to make this background without having to use the pen tool because I wanted to teach people how to do everything with um, just basic shapes, skewing, and just understanding perspective. This is a way you can create props. I hope this was helpful.